For another session with Adam Veet. Today we are talking about vibe coding to value, which, if you don't know what vibe coding is, it's basically, hey, you want to make something? AI makes it super easy. Anybody can do it. You can you can just write out what you want it to do, and it will go and create it. Now, there's a lot of controversy about whether it's going to be good or not, but today, Adam and I are going to dive into what exactly can you create? How does that look? And can you do something that's actually useful?
Yeah. Yeah, exciting stuff. I think that we were talking before we jumped on live here, Aaron, and it's an interesting time because yes, I've created multiple things within the AI and hiring and really actually college athletics too. I've created a couple tools, but now Chat GPT is kind of opening it up to where they are making it easier to create these things within Chat GPT as well. So yes, would love to kind of jump into what I've created. Essentially, what it is I will share my screen if I can here. Um,
Yeah, go for it.
a let's see, screen. A digital workforce analyzer, essentially what it is. So I created this prompt essentially within ChatGPT, and now I'm using a wrapper service called Wrapped, which is from a buddy. His name's Colin Herdman. He's in the Minneapolis area. They've created this product, this wrapper service is what you call it. So essentially, it creates this website that you're looking at right now, and this is the wrapper. So I will go into my workforce AI workforce analyzer. I have pre-populated a job. So here's the welcome message that everybody gets, ready to see your open role and what responsibilities within that open role can be handled by AI.
So
So,
so just to frame it up,
sure,
this AI workforce analyzer will take your job description and tell you what things within this job could potentially be done by AI and what might that
correct,
look like.
correct, yep,
Okay.
correct, yep. So here's what I have. I have a actual job that is available right now. Let's see, from Equitrust Life Insurance Company in Des Moines. So it is a, let's see if I can remember the name, marketing technology analyzer. Make sure that's what it was. Or analyst. And then I copy and I paste the job description here. And then that is my prompt. So it reads that. It breaks down, and this is just to make sure that we are correct on what the responsibilities are. Recurring tasks, it lists these out. So the prompter can, look at these obviously and see, yeah, this is accurate. This is what it is. Automatable tasks. Now, I will be upfront that this is a little messy, and I'm still working on how to do that. But if we're looking at this is number one. Evaluate and document the business requirements. Half of that can be automated by AI. Here are the AI tools that you can use to do that, and pricing for those tools that it would cost. For example, ChatGPT would be probably $20 per month, and then how much it would cost to implement and create this. Um, and as you can see, we go down to user acceptance testing is another one. About half of that can be troubleshooting, analyzing issues. 30%. As we go down, these are what can be automated, and the percentage that it can be automated.
Hmm. Wow.
Um, and then here is where it gets kind of really juicy, I think. Estimated automation cost would be, here's what we've determined an average salary in Des Moines for a marketing technology analyst is 80,000 per year. Now we have added this for benefits because most of the jobs do include benefits. So that is in addition to 80,000 per year. So it would be about 104,000 if you want to hire this person outright. Um, Here's the estimate. Obviously, as it says, estimate percentage of role automatable. So you can automate about 45% of the tasks or responsibilities within this job description. Um, Here's obviously the calculate monthly setup costs for the tools, about 2,500 to set it up. Um, value of automatable work, percentage there, and potential cost savings. Like I said, this is where it gets really juicy for either hiring managers, founders, CEOs, maybe even CTOs. And then it gets a big summary here of, you can automate approximately 45% of the marketing role, and you can save about $3,475 monthly by automating these responsibilities and tasks. So, and obviously right here, if you have any questions, you can email us. So that is the tool, essentially, and it does it for really any role. There's no certain, there's no niche that you have to have. It doesn't have to be in the marketing world. It can really be any type of role, and it goes out and it searches for salary. It goes out and it obviously has the tools available that it can be. It gives you the information of what can be automatable.
That is pretty cool, I have to admit. Now, obviously, it seems like there's a lot of generalities put in here.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to me like this isn't necessarily, hey, this is exactly how to do it, but here's a place to start the conversation.
Yes, exactly. And I think, the people who I've talked to who have actually used this tool, they find it super valuable, because if it's not this role, there are other positions within their company that typically do some of these responsibilities. And then then they start to think about, okay, well, if we can automate that in this role, what if we did it across every role that has that responsibility? Then what are our savings? So that's when it starts to kind of, you would maybe call it snowball into like, man, we are saving this much money with this role solely with this role. But then what if we start to automate these things within other roles, within other departments, within other teams? And then like I said, it starts to snowball into a ton of savings, a ton of time savings, and energy as well.
Yeah, that is amazing. And I think this is the kind of thing that it's just because it's built on AI. It's not like you said, it's not constrained by a certain industry or a certain role. It's going to go out, and you said it uses ChatGPT in the background?
Yes. Yep. ChatGPT 5.
Okay. So yeah, it's going to go out and it's going to pull the most recent information.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, are there parameters you use? How do you gauge those cost savings, in what it can actually save and what it's going to cost?
So it takes a percentage of the role. So all of the tasks that it has in the job description, it takes the percentage of the task that thing were to be within that job description. And then that's where it gets the percentage, and that's where it kind of takes away from the salary. So the salary is where it all starts. Like I said, with this role, it's $80,000 salary, and that is an estimate. Just to be honest, it's not exact what this role offers. It goes out and it gets information from a ton of different sites, and it scrapes those sites to get that average of salary, and then it just takes a percentage of whatever the tasks are, and then it takes that percentage out of the salary, and then it does the calculations to, let's just say it's Gumroad, or I'm sorry, Gumloop, and it costs this much per month, costs this much to implement. Then that's how that calculation is calculated.
That is pretty cool.
I think it is. And the people who I've actually let use it, I guess you would call it maybe, beta testers. They have found some cost savings. They found ways that they can maybe even start to research implementing AI. Like, hey, we could do it here, we could do it there. Here are some of the tools. And I think that at the very least, should start conversations within some of these companies that use it, and can potentially, hopefully save them some money and some time, and like I said, some energy as well.
That is great. So how much I guess, how can people get a hold of this if they're interested in, that looks like something I could really use?
Yeah. So message me on LinkedIn. That's where you can find me most of the time. That has my email address on there too, so feel free to email me as well. Happy to talk you through it. and, still going through some of the testing. Like I said, the tools are the very first part of the output is a little messy, so I've been working on that for a little bit. Still need to do some work on that. But yes, message me on LinkedIn, send me an email. Would love to talk you through it and love to have you help me start to utilize it, and see how and where it can help you, your team, or your business.
That is fantastic. So, Adam, let's walk through how do you create something like this? I mean, is this something that are you willing to give away kind of the secret sauce here?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's actually, I've probably said this to you and to a lot of other people quite a bit, but I hate to say it's easy, but it's kind of easy. Um, what I did was essentially what happened was I went to ChatGPT. I told it what I wanted, what kind of platform, what type of service I wanted, in the end. So the end goal. And then I said, write me a prompt that could help me make this happen. It wrote me the prompt. I read through it. I gave it some clarity, some clarifications on a couple things. It also gave me a few things that, hey, it asked me some questions after. I said, hey, what else would you need to know for me to make this happen? And then I actually have a Google Doc that I kept all that prompt in, so it's saved in my file. Um, and then, like I said, I use this wrapper service called Wrapped, that Wrapped is spelled WRAPPT.ai. Awesome people, love those guys up there in Minneapolis, and they have a great product. So I signed up for that. I inputted that prompt into their wrapper, and then it created it. That is legit all I did. So can't say that I did the most work on it, but it has been some updating, some trying to figure out how to make it look a little better. But that's kind of how it goes. So that's essentially how it happened. Had an idea, connected with Colin up there in Minneapolis, and that's what we have right now. Oh, you're on mute. I think you're still on mute, Aaron. I can't hear you.
Sorry. I
There
was
we go.
getting feedback, so I was muting it. So this is basically OpenAI in the background.
Yes. Yeah.
And is that a custom GPT? Is that what it is?
No. So it's essentially I create the prompt and so that is the prompt that it pulls from.
Okay.
Wrapped itself uses ChatGPT.
Okay. So you just did all of it in Wrapped.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
I created the initial prompt in ChatGPT just because I was out, like I said, asking it questions and saying, hey, I want to do this. Write me a prompt for that. And it did it. So then I used Wrapped, and Wrapped uses ChatGPT.
Okay.
Yep.
So you and I've talked about what you were doing, and I don't know, did you look at what I had created?
I did.
So we're all about AI and using different tools. So you demonstrated Wrapped.
Yep.
What I want to show here is, as long as I can share my screen. All right, let me know when you can see it.
Yep. Got it.
All right. So this is Replit.
Yep.
If you've never used Replit, it's one of those like, hey, you just talk to it and tell it what you want, and it'll do full stack.
Mm-hmm.
This is what Replit created for me. I took what you had told me with just the idea and was like, oh, that would be cool. I wonder, because I was like, I need something to test it with. I wanted to try out Replit, build something. So I'm like, let me try this. So this is what Replit put together. And it's got, you can just put your input in. You can do multi-field for add multiple jobs, or you can upload a file. And then you just analyze it. And I've already analyzed this. And I think yours does it a little bit better. There's a lot more tweaking, let's say, that I'd need to do on this, but it goes in and gives you exactly recommended platforms, integration approach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, expected 20 to 30% reduction in documentation.
How much technical coding did you do for this?
I did no technical coding. I am not a coder. at
I'll
all.
just say,
Zero.
I knew the answer to that. I wanted you to say it though. Isn't that just amazing that you created this with zero coding?
And look, I could add it to a roadmap. Now, I will be the first to admit, you come out here to the roadmap,
Yep.
not everything's going to work exactly right.
Sure.
I don't love all the ROI analysis stuff.
Mhm.
And I went in and I tried changing it. I ended up, all transparency, I ended up spending like 27 bucks
Yep.
like to build this out, because it's like 25 bucks a month, and then I went over a little bit because I'm like, oh, let's tweak it a bit. So it didn't cost me nothing.
Uh-huh.
But you can see from someone that has no experience to something that frankly is more than just a wireframe. It's actually a decent MVP.
It is. It looks really, I mean, it looks really good, I
mean,
think.
you're like, oh, let's apply filters. Oh, there's what's agentic AI. And you're like, holy crap! What's just the high potential generative AI things?
Yeah.
What are they? And like right there.
How long would you say you spent on this?
Oh, probably 6 hours.
6 hours.
But what this is what I keep saying. This is kind of where I've come with AI is what these tools in the future is. It's lowering the barriers of entry for everyone. It's kind of like what YouTube did, or any of the social media has done for like the music industry. If you want to be a musician, it used to be you'd have to sign on to a record label because you could never get your music on the radio.
Yep.
Now suddenly, if you want to be a musician, you just throw up a free YouTube channel and start recording yourself with your phone that almost everybody has,
right,
and see what kind of traction you get.
Yeah.
And there have been people that have gone done very, very well for themselves.
Yeah.
When you look at Oliver Anthony, my goodness, the guy makes one song and he goes viral.
Yeah.
And you get what this does is this lowers the barrier of entry. Now, my good friend Dave that I talked to earlier today on a live will be the first one to tell you all the problems with this because he's a coder. He does UX UI, very, very good at his job, and he'd be like, this is crap. And be like, yeah, it is. But man, like in 6 hours for 27 bucks, I was able to get a working prototype.
Yeah.
That you can now iterate off of. And it even does, dark mode, which I love.
Yeah, me too. I actually love dark mode. And even, it does lower the barrier of entry. It does let more people do things that me or you would not be able to have done in the past. And now you think about the businesses and the products, it's all about now, with my products, whatever it is, getting it in front of people, getting it in front of the right eyes. So I think, in my opinion, the marketing is going to be, just crazy, crazy important these next couple of years for new products, for old products to get to, stay on top, if you would call it. But exciting stuff. And like I said, I was very impressed with that. And now, with Replit, I've used Replit before too, and it's super easy. You prompt it to tell you what you want it to create. And maybe for our listeners who haven't used it, you essentially pay 25 bucks a month. It gives you what they call them credits.
Yeah, credits or tokens or whatever.
Yeah. Yes. And so you prompt it. It does stuff for you. As it creates those things, it uses those credits. I think there's an explanation on how it uses credits, but it's pretty vast and pretty detailed. And then, like you said, once you run out of those credits, you can buy more. If not, I think they re-up on a monthly basis, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. And it's really, what's cool is it does everything from like the back end database all the way to the front end and stands it up so you can it even put on, you have to sign into it. It integrates with Google, a Google sign in. I'm like, I have no clue how to do that.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. In fact, I actually got it stood up, I think, for about $15, $17.
Okay.
But then I went back, I'm like, oh, I want to change this and tweak that. And that's where it started, like, it took me up to my limit and over.
Yeah.
And then it just charges you more as you go higher and you
Yeah.
keep using it. But it was really cool. And there's, frankly, Replic's not the only one. There's a ton of them out there now.
Yep.
I mean, Lovable is another really good one.
Yeah,
I tried
Lovable's
that
good
for a
one.
little bit.
Yeah.
In fact, this is the next thing I wanted to show. I did a brief video on this because I was so geeked last week when it came out. But if anybody has Claude, they just came out with Imagine for Claude. What Imagine for Claude is if you're familiar at all with the coding wars, as I like to call it, where you have like OpenAI and their coding engine, and you have Claude and the Claude code. If you're familiar at all with that, it's a pretty hot thing. They're constantly going against one another, trying to say like who's the best this week. And every time they bring something out, because so many people are using this to help them with their coding. They are just tremendous, tremendous tools. Mm-hmm. So what Claude did was it's like Replit, but to their Max users, they brought out this Imagine with Claude. And it basically has this Claude code in the background, but is exactly what Replit did. The difference is it does this in like, oh my goodness, it did it so stinking quick. I should have prepared the exact copy paste one, but it does the same thing as Replit, only it does it much faster. So let's say create a job analyzer that I can paste a job description into, and it will show me what parts of the job can be automated by AI, the ROI of each piece, and any other pertinent details. So I just did that quick. Mm-hmm. So what it did is this is it building it in real time. There you go.
Done.
like what?
Man.
It just built it in real time. But the cool thing, and this is what this is very basic. I actually tried this last week or a couple weeks ago after I tried Replit, and I had the full here's everything, and it went out and rebuilt everything I'd done in Replit in 1/10 the time, and it only gives you right now. It only gives you 100K of whatever credits. I don't know if you can see that down here.
Yeah.
So once you hit 100K, it just stops. It doesn't work anymore. And I'm just like, oh, Anthropic, please. I love this. But you can see, I think as it builds it, I think it builds the front. And then as you click on something, I think it builds it as you click on it.
No kidding.
I think because when you click on something, it takes a little bit longer.
Gotcha.
So imagine the way that video games work. I don't know if you're familiar with video games. Mm-hmm. When you have massive multiplayer open worlds, they don't render the entire world.
Yeah.
And that's because if they did, it would just take up too much compute power. You can't transfer that back and forth over the internet. So what they do is they render what you're looking at in real time. They only render so much around you. And they do that because that's efficient. It's far more efficient. And then as you interact with other players, they're able to focus on just the graphics it needs, not all this other stuff that maybe no one's going to go to. And I think they're taking the same principles here. Because as you click on it, so let me grab that job description that I just had and paste it in here. It's going to take a little bit longer, and you kind of see it down at the bottom, thinking. And so I think what it does is it only renders so much, and then it will render the rest of it as it goes along.
I see. But
It does it really quick.
that legit took you what, 15 seconds to type out the prompt and then maybe 2 seconds to create it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So imagine where this is, and this is where when we talk about the future of AI, this is where my brain just like lights up with possibilities. Because one of the things that OpenAI, I think, has hinted at is creating an operating system.
Mhm.
Imagine a world where you no longer have to buy software. Imagine a world that is focused on, well, what do you want to do? Who do you want to communicate with? And it renders the software solutions on how to work together, how to make things flow in the background in real time for you.
Mhm.
So you buy into the Claude operating system, the OpenAI operating system, and as you start to work, as you start to build your business, what you're going to do is you're just going to say, hey, we need a better way to communicate on this. Or in fact, what it's probably going to do is come back and say, hey, I've got recommendations for you in the long term, because it's going to be smart enough to know what you're doing and how you're working. And it will just render in the background tables and databases. The reason this came up into my mind is thinking of a CRM. You familiar with
Yep.
with the idea of a CRM? And so at the place I work, we have a couple of different CRMs that, one that some of us have personally, and then the company one. And the idea that I go and I meet somebody and I may connect with them on LinkedIn, but now I need to go put all of their information into the CRM. Well, now if I need to go send an email, I've got to go send an email to someone, and then I've got to put a task in the CRM to say, oh, here's a follow-up, and then I need to put that I corresponded with them. And the reality is that is all a waste of time. Because I want one window. I mean, the real task that drives value is me communicating and networking and having that conversation. And
Yep.
so in the future, you're just going to connect with them on LinkedIn or whatever, and it's going to come up and say, oh, hey, you connected with them on LinkedIn. Do you want to add them to your Altus CXO CRM? Yeah. Oh, great. And then it may come back to me and say, do you want to set them up as, are you the main contact here, or did you just meet them in addition? It's going to work all that in the background.
Mhm.
And what that's going to do, I mean, frankly, it means curtains for all of these software companies in the long run. But what that's going to do is that's going to free you up. And this is going back to my original thing about this quote that I have, is it's free you up to do what only humans can do.
Yeah.
It's going to free all this busy work that we've done for years, and it's going to allow you to focus on the things that actually matter.
Mhm. Yep. And you're exactly right. I think that a lot of the evaluations that I've been doing with small business founders, specifically recruiting companies, they're having conversations. Some are still during the phone call, typing notes out and, trying to make sure they get everything from the phone call. But that should be, you should have something in place that transcribes the call that can actually automatically put it into your CRM, those notes, the transcription of everything that was said.
Yep.
And then you should be able to query your CRM to say, hey, what I say to this person 3 years ago? That should all be a workflow. And now it's easier to do that. It's crazy easy, as we just showed. But, Aaron, you mentioned ChatGPT or OpenAI's operating system. They had a couple pretty big announcements here the last couple days at their OpenAI. What was it called? The Dev Days.
Dev Days, yeah.
Yeah, Dev Days. Where they actually, we talk about Replit, we talk about Claude, we talk about Lovable. They've actually released a similar product that you can prompt OpenAI, ChatGPT, and it can create things for you. They also released, which is pretty exciting, a way to create agents within ChatGPT, which I have been looking for a while. Other offerings have had that here for a little bit, and now you can do it within ChatGPT. Create applications. They're having their own app store where you can obviously monetize your app or your idea. So a couple of the ideas that I've created within the wrapper, honestly, probably my workforce analyzer can now become an app within OpenAI's App Store. And they're going to open up, like I said, they're going to open up monetization. They're going to open up that type of thing. They have not done that yet. I haven't seen anything that has said when they're going to do that, but they are, yeah. Everybody is trying to do everything, and it's going to be interesting, kind of the battle between the big players in this the field, and how that progresses and how that goes. To be honest,
There was a time when in the last 10 years, 15 years, I've really thought, man, Microsoft is like, they are set up to really own so many areas. They're the ones that had the original vision of the Power Platform to make it easier for people on the ground to solve their own problems and to create their own automations. The problem is Microsoft just continues to fall down.
Yeah.
And they make it so much harder than it needs to be. They really don't make it user friendly, and it opens up humongous doors like this. And with OpenAI, with what Anthropic's doing, and up until I think probably this week, I would have really thought, man, Microsoft is still like poised to really dominate
Yeah.
in the long run. But man, once I started capturing the idea of OpenAI creating an operating system, all of a sudden you realize, oh crap, Microsoft's dead in the water if they can't figure this out.
And you and I work a lot with small businesses and startups, and in my opinion, one of the best aspects of those types of businesses is the fact that they can move fast. They can iterate quickly. And I keep going back to, I mean, I remember I listened to a podcast a couple of months ago that with Microsoft's CEO, when he first took the job, somebody asked him, what are you most excited about? He talked about large language models. And that was X amount of years ago, I think maybe 11 or 12 years ago. And he was excited about that. And they still are behind the curve with OpenAI. Not that OpenAI is a small company, because it's probably not, but they are smaller than Microsoft as far as making moves and, having to get all that stuff. But I just think that's such a big advantage right now, being smaller, being able, or having a mindset of, we need to be agile. We need to do stuff now, instead of, your typical large company like Microsoft. It's like, yeah, we need to do this, but let's get these boxes checked first before we can move forward.
It's the same old story as exactly the same thing that's happened to GE and others. These behemoth companies, I mean, they're still around. You still got IBM, you still got GE, but are they really as big of players as they used to be? Eventually, are they going to go the route of Kmart?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And honestly, I would even say like Walmart. Where are they going? You see, once something gets big, and that is always the problem, is they don't get they're not as nimble anymore. I think one of the few companies that has really bucked that trend is Amazon.
Yep, I was just going to say that. You're right.
They absolutely, and part of that is because they have embedded the idea of failing fast learning at the core of their culture.
Yep.
And it has made all of the difference. I mean, you look at everything that is huge, Amazon Prime, you look at their remote hosting. They are dominating cloud storage.
Yeah.
And it's because somebody had the idea, oh, we should do this on our own, because it costs us so much with others.
And to think about, like, Amazon was a bookstore, and now they're the dominating company in cloud storage.
Yeah.
Like, think about that.
I think they make more from cloud storage, I think, than they do retail.
Oh, I'm sure. It has to be.
A year or two ago.
Yeah. Interesting times, but exciting stuff. Man, I really love talking about this stuff. I really love trying stuff. And if you're looking to, grow within AI and learn new things, you have new things to learn on a daily basis. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, there is. That's why, honestly, if you're a small business owner, just come and talk to Adam and I. We are eating, breathing this stuff daily, because we are so excited by it, by the opportunity. This is what we do,
Yeah.
is help small to medium-sized businesses navigate how in the world can this impact me, and what should I be looking at? Because traditional software life cycles, I think those are just going by the wayside.
Yeah. You're 100% right.
That 6 month, purchasing life cycle, that 18 to 24 to 36 month implementation life cycle, it is gone. It's not going to survive in this new economy.
And just make your own.
Yeah,
You know?
that's what we just proved.
Yeah.
You can make your own. Now, am I saying Microsoft doesn't have great products, or isn't like if you're a big company, you can have the staff to really help drive those things. Power Automate, the whole Power Platform is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes staff, it takes knowledge. It's not like Claude Imagine here. Although Claude Imagine, this is beta, so
Sure.
This is not matured yet, but you can see where it's heading.
Absolutely can.
And it's amazing. So what else is, Adam, anything else you've been working with lately? Does that cover it all?
Just that about covers it all for this week. I have not utilized, I think the OpenAI announcements were about 2 days ago, so I have not created any agents or anything within the App Store. But I definitely have some ideas of what I'm going to try to test out. So maybe in the next couple of weeks we'll go over those, and we can go over some of those things that I've probably failed at, but also hopefully iterated to make a success. And I think that the opportunity out there for somebody who has an idea, it is easier than ever to at least make that a reality, and even an MVP to say, is this a viable product or not?
Oh yeah. So it lowers, once again, it's lowering that barrier of entry for everything, and just it makes it so that you have an idea, you can bring it to market, you can bring it to a test market, you can set it up and be ready for those VCs
pretty quickly.
Very quickly, like crazy. Yeah. 15 seconds.
Yeah. Wild stuff.
That is wild. So, well, Adam, thank you. It's been fantastic talking to you again.
Yes, absolutely. We will see everybody next week. I'm excited for what is new next week. We'll probably have a whole slew of new things to talk about next week.
Whole slew of new things, as always. All right.